HarperCollins presents The Train on Platform 2 by Stephanie Steele. Read by Beth, Eyre. 1. Warm air rushed at Jess, blowing her hair into her face, along with a smattering of grit picked up from the platform floor. Blinking, she spat out strands of her blonde bob and wiped at her eyes with the back of her hand as an echoing screech confirmed the tube's arrival. Thank God. It had been an evening. A small bolt of guilt shot through her at that thought, as she stood to one side to let the trickle of disembarking passengers hurry on their way. She boarded the front carriage, having slunk toward the end of the platform, away from the small waiting group that huddled in the middle. It was nearing midnight, the last tube home, and there were only a few other passengers waiting. But still, Jess wanted quiet, a solace usually guaranteed in an end carriage. She sank onto the thin cushioned seat and pulled her phone out of her trenchcoat pocket, while the doors beeped their alarm that they would soon close. She stared at it and considered messaging Liv, who'd been working tonight and not able to join the drinks catch-up Jess had just endured. There was that bolt of guilt again. Maybe she was being too hard on Nicole. No one else from work had bothered to try and catch up with her since she'd left the Met last year. Even Liv, her one-time best friend, had seemed to forget about her lately, as she'd got wrapped up in her new job in the modern slavery and kidnap unit. Jess was happy for her, of course, but she missed their chatter, their banter. Their banter, often about Nicole. The train began to move, barreling into the gaping dark, and Jess tapped on her WhatsApp chat with Liv, their last messages sent a week ago. Liv saying she couldn't make the drinks, but good luck, with a winking emoji. Their liberal use of emojis Jess knew from her eldest daughter aged them as the millennials they were. She typed out a string of messages and hit send. Nicole was very Nicole tonight. We'll fill you in next time. Hope work's okay. Jess slipped her phone back in her pocket, trusting the messages to deliver whenever her phone bothered to connect to the patchy Wi-Fi at one of the next stations, and she gazed around the carriage. She didn't feel like music or a podcast tonight. Instead, she wanted to self-flagellate and replay the evening over and over, wondering if Nicole was right, that she looked so much like a mum now, whatever that meant, or that, God, you would never tell you used to be a DI. Was that true? Had Jess lost so much of her old self? Nicole had stayed put in their old command, her brash and no-shits-given personality blending in seamlessly with the boys' club. So much so, she would innocently blink her big blue eyes in the face of Liv and Jess's complaints about the unbearable misogyny, as if she had no idea what they were talking about. Nicole had faced it all too, of course, but she dealt with it by becoming one of the lads, Gillian Flynn's infamous cool girl. Liv had channeled her rage into a transfer and promotion, and Jess, well, Jess had quit. She shook herself out of it by pulling her phone back out of her pocket and looking at the lit-up home screen, the reminder of what she'd left to do. 2 little girls, 9 and 4, with gap-toothed grins and their father's penetratingly deep dark brown eyes. They stood either side of a tan Staffordshire Bull Terrier, her panting grin pulled as wide as her human siblings. Jess smiled to herself. It had been worth it. They were worth it. This last year of being by their side for every school drop-off and pick-up, every weekend activity, long leisurely walks with Honey in the middle of the day, it had made up for her previous neglect in the face of a demanding job with an unreliable shift pattern. She put her phone away again, satisfied with her life choices. But as she recommenced her gaze around the
Sample complete. Ready to continue?